Hey guys, okay, so I'm back to do a video of my stats because my lovely friend Eric told me to. Also, I had like a couple of comments on my last video. So I know I said what school I'm going to, UC Irvine, and today it's
21st.
the 21st. What time?
It's 6:48.
It's April 21st, 6:48. I'm waiting for my phone to turn on because it's dead. With all my stats information. So obviously, in every stats video, there's a disclaimer, so I have to put mine. Stats aren't everything, like they genuinely are not everything, and I'm gonna go over that today because this is just more than just a stats video. It's my extracurriculars, it's the things that I'm interested in, and what my PIQs were about. Another extension to the UC application that a lot of people don't talk about in their videos, and I think it has a lot to do with how they look at applicants holistically, is the questionnaire. I'm not sure if that's exactly what it's called, but it's towards the end of the application. They ask you over 50 plus, probably to like 100 questions to get a feel of like how you are. You say you're a California student, California resident, if you're live in a single parent household, single mom household, single dad household, if you were ever homeless in your life, if you are currently homeless, if you're adopted, if you were ever in the foster system, things like that. I think it contributes to the holistic review. So if you have similar stats to me, that does not guarantee you're going to get into the schools I got into. That doesn't guarantee you're going to get the scholarships I got. It's all not only just a draw, but it's all dependent on the person and everyone's unique situation. I think that's very important to say because I've watched videos and I'm like, oh, they have similar stats to me, but then I didn't end up getting into the school they did. Or I'm like, and we have like similar backgrounds, but I didn't end up getting into the school they did. So it's just a wide range of things they look at. Some UC schools do things differently, but this is specific to Irvine. I was talking to a recruiter, probably, it was in August, I believe it was, at a college fair. And they said this year they transferred into a new system where they're admitting people by major. So some majors were more competitive, some majors were less competitive. I applied as the major as educational sciences, so that might be less competitive than, let's say, computer science. And so they're looking at how you fit into that major and if they have people like you that have been admitted to that major already in that specific 2020, 2021, and so on applicant pool. Are you leaving? Bye. I'm not sure if the other schools do that. I heard UCLA does that. I'm not sure. Turn on. Like, I'm tired of this being dead. 4%. That's enough. So now we're going to talk about things I can't change before we talk about my stats, because I think those directly contribute to your stats, and they're also things that I added into my application.
And some balance.
I went to a relatively big high school. It was a competitive high school. I was in an honors program with predominantly Asian Americans and Caucasians in my school, so that was a lot of fun. So I'm from Sacramento, California, which is a relatively large city. There's a lot of competitive high schools competing with my competitive high school. I was raised by a single parent, a single mother, my whole life. I'm a California resident, so that also contributes to UC application. Third gen. Hey you guys, when I said that I'm third gen, I meant third generation immigrant, not third generation going to college. As for the college piece, my mom pursued a 4-year degree when she was 30 years old, and then none of my other family at all went to college. So that's, yeah. And I'm African and Mexican descent. Stats, we're going to talk about my class rankings. Out of 566 students, I was 31. So my class ranking wasn't the highest. It obviously wasn't the lowest, but it wasn't the highest. And I never really talked about it because I never really liked it. My sophomore year, my class rank was around 80, so I came a long way. My SAT, I had multiple SAT scores. I took the SAT literally 4 times. Probably actually 5 times. I took the SAT many times, and I was never getting the score I wanted because I am not that good at the SAT. I personally believe that the SAT is inherently classist, so that's a whole nother video though. But I mean, hey, I felt like I was dealt kind of a foul card, but this is not an excuse. I really tried hard because I took the PSAT my sophomore year and I think I got like a 920 or something. So yeah, it was a little rough. The highest SAT score I got was like around a 1210, but I did not submit that score. And you guys are probably like, why wouldn't you submit that score to your UCs? It was because I had a really low essay score. And I know people are like, what the heck, essay scores is not that important as the SAT score. But you have to see from my perspective, I am applying, and I'll get into this with my extracurriculars, I'm applying as a literacy tutor. So I'm a literacy tutor. I'm trying to go into writing in school, and I have a future in education and education policy, so I like to present myself as poised with writing and in language, and I think that spoke volume. I really thought about it. Nobody really helped me make the decision. The score that I had around was like a 1210. It was in the 1200s. That essay score, I got a 666. That accumulates 6 times 3. That's a score of 18. Like, that was not it, chief. But then when I retook it, I got an 1180, which is not like absolutely horrible. It's like close to a 1200, right? I mean, I don't know. I think they're like in the same range. But that essay score, I got a 778. 778. That's 22 out of 24, which I thought was freaking amazing. Biggest flex. So I submitted that to my UCs, to my private schools, and all the schools I did through the Common App, and that's super scored. I sent them all of those. The next segment's about my AP classes, but I forgot to put this in there. For grading wise, I got A's in all of my AP classes except AP Bio. I got a B. I took AP World. I got a 4. AP US History, I didn't get a score on because I transferred in late into the year because I took honors history at first, and then it wasn't challenging enough for me, so I took AP US History, and then but it was already too late to sign up for the test, so I didn't take the test, which sucked. And then I took AP Bio. I got a 2. For sure. I took AP Lang. I got a 4. AP Gov, I haven't got a score on yet. I took AP Psych, I got a 5. AP Lit, no score. AP Stats, no score. This wasn't for the boys in the boom system, the top down, AC, and the cooler system. OMG, today I woke up and MLU was canceled. I was like, finally. I also took the SAT subject test for US history because I didn't get to take A push, and I got a 690, and I wasn't submitting that because that's not high enough to submit in my head, but whatever. Now my extracurriculars! What I think helped get me into college. I honestly think it was just my extracurriculars and my PIQ. I was the voice of the youth, mentee, and mentor. I did missionary work for my church for 4 years. So, well, it was for 3 years, but I was participating in the recruitment process for the 4th year. But we actually didn't get to go down to Mexico my senior year, RIP, which made me sad. I was an MCB founder. In my sophomore year, I started the club Making Classes Better to bridge the gap between student and teacher and to make the classroom environment feel more welcoming and more equitable for all students, and for learning to be easier for students and teaching to be easier for teachers. And we did year-round fundraising that I did solely basically by myself because there wasn't a lot of club participation like I wanted. It was like in and out. There was like some meetings I'd have like 30, some meetings I'd have 2. So that was fun. I was a debate judge for around the first 2 years of high school for the middle school league. I worked at Jamba Juice for 3 years. I was in Club Smile for a couple of years. I was voted to be the president my junior year, but we ended up kind of canceling the club my senior year, but that was fine. It was also after I applied, so I didn't put that in there. And then I was elected my junior year to be on the Sacramento Advisory Council for the School Board of Education in Sacramento, which is super cool. We get to create our own initiatives and things like that to be voted upon, to be brought forth to the board, that are in specific regards to prioritizing student welfare and focusing on certain student demographics and issues brought up by students, ran by students, researched by students. So it's awesome. And also I was a link crew leader my junior and sophomore year, so that was fun. Go Cougars! And then I forgot to mention my senior year, I was a literacy tutor after school, which took a big chunk of my after school life, but it was pretty good. It was pretty fun, and I liked helping people. So my essays, which I think had the biggest impact on my application. The first essay was about my leadership experience, about founding my club, making classes better, and why I'm so passionate about creating equity. Because growing up, I went to a predominantly charter school for predominantly African American communities, and I felt like the charter school, in my opinion, betrayed their mission, which was to create more like equitable opportunities for African American students, because they were preparing us in a kind of unique way. The way they were teaching us and the way that they were going about preparing us for college at such a young age was pretty harmful and pretty toxic, and I didn't understand that until I went to public school, and I was already around 3 years behind, and I had to catch up all by myself. It happened around 7th grade, and I talked about that specific issue in my Common App essay. That was my Common App essay. And then how I created an initiative for homeless students to basically be better resourced at their schools and through their district with a care closet, where we'd have clothing and school resources and toiletries and feminine products, anything that a student, like basic essential needs that students weren't getting at their house, that the schools could provide through a care closet. And that was an initiative that I presented and that was voted upon, and then we pursued for the following year. I had an educational barrier essay where I talked about growing up homeless and kind of couch surfing throughout my elementary and middle school years, and kind of how that impacted my love for education, because education was seen as a refuge for me and the only way out of the situation that I found myself in. And it was also a pretty deep essay. A significant challenge, the third one, was about my sister. If for anyone that doesn't know or is new to basically my life, my sister was shot my sophomore year. I was going into my sophomore year, and she was shot that summer, July 4th. And it was pretty dramatic for the whole family, because she was shot 8 times, and I was the one at just 14 years old to receive the news first, because I called her to tell her happy birthday, but I ended up speaking to a nurse who told me she was in critical condition, and it was a turning point for everyone, especially my sister. It had a big impact on her life and continues to have an impact to this day, which I talked about in the essay. And then my fourth essay was about an academic subject that inspires me. And of course, I talked about all there is about cultural anthropology and how I found a love for different cultures. If you guys want me to read my essays, comment below and I will do a separate video for that. And that would be pretty fun. I don't know, I think that'd be pretty fun. Okay, so comment below if you want an essay read. Essays read. Okay. The schools I got accepted to was UC Santa Cruz, UC Davis, UCI, Chico State, Sac State, Channel Islands, William & Mary, and Colgate University. A scholarship to all of them. Waitlisted at UCLA, Loyola Marymount, and American University, and then rejected flat out by San Diego State, Stanford University, and Duke. And USC. I forgot to add that to the list, but we don't talk about her. Thank you guys for watching, and if you guys have any questions, comment them down below. I'll respond. Okay, bye.